Welcome. We're going to get started in just a minute. And I wanted to do one more thing. There we go. Timer. Okay, I got all my props, including some water and our timer. You'll see why this is going to be helpful. Or I know why, but I'll share it with you shortly. Awesome. Okay. So just a few seconds before we start. Welcome. I'm not going to take a lot of time to do introduction today, but and you'll see shortly that the focus of this practice is to get you quickly ready for pranayama. And you may have heard me say it before, but if not, it's really worth me saying it again. The fastest way to create a shift in our state in a sustained way, other than dunking your head in ice cold water, is change the way you breathe. Okay, so let's talk about this practice just very briefly. I'm going to move you through some preliminary postures. The title of the class is Enter Box Breathing. You may have heard of box breathing. From a yogic standpoint, the same methodology is called samavriti. And what that refers to is that the 4 stages of the breath, inhale, hold after inhale, exhale, and hold after exhale, are all equal. So I want to actually give you about 13 minutes of this breathing practice. And let me just again front load this by saying, yes, you could do shorter breath practices, but for it to have a longer lasting effect and to really begin to tonify your parasympathetic nervous system to help us self-regulate and find greater balance, we want to do the longer practices. Certainly 1 or 2 minutes of breathing is effective. So what is box breathing in a nutshell? The 4 stages of the breath will be the same, but I'm going to build up to it slowly. And I'm going to guide you through every stage. So I don't really think I have to say much more about it. My goal, though, to begin with, is just to give you a few asanas to prepare you for what will be about a 13-minute breathing practice. And don't be nervous. It is challenging in as much as it actually, because your breath is working at a deeper level than asana practices, the impact is deeper, but you might actually find a little challenge around it. But that's my goal, is to give you new capacity, rewire your brain such that you can really help to condition your nervous system, mind, your neurological patterning, such that we can have greater impact. Okay? So let's start very simply. Again, the physical practice is going to be relatively short, kind of a minimum that I think will prepare you adequately for the breathing we're going to do. Okay, so to start out, please go ahead and lie down onto your back on the floor. Get comfortable, and you can lie down with either your knees bent or your knees straight, whichever you prefer. Knees bent, my feet are flat on the floor, or legs straight. Perhaps have the legs together if it's reasonably comfortable. Either way, I'd like you to have your arms by your side. Take a moment, this moment, just to begin to gather your attention into what your body and mind are experiencing right now. Maybe a simple way of doing this is just to say, or to discern on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being deeply calm and relaxed, 10 being hyper alert, even stressed out, perhaps even anxious. Just your body, just analyzing or reflecting on the state of the body. Where are you right now? One of the ways to detect where you are is just to observe the way your body is breathing, as well as, interoception, become aware of the unique sensations going on from the skin inward. Now please take a moment to do that same scaling. Where are you on that continuum of relaxation and perhaps stress at the level of mind and emotion? So, if your knees are bent, that's fine. You can leave them there with the feet on the floor. If your legs are stretched out on the floor, flex your feet, please. Bring your legs together. Let's all breathe in and reach the arms toward the ceiling and then overhead. And breathe out, bring the arms back to your side. Now I'm going to ask you to deepen your inhalation. So 5 count inhale. Keep the feet flexed, the legs engaged if your legs are straight. And exhale, lower the arms back to your side. 6 count inhale, please. And remember, the movement matches the length of the breath. The only caveat is that you start the breath before you start moving. You finish the breath just after you finish moving. If possible, 7 count inhalation. And lastly, possibly an 8 count. Just do the best you can. If you're not yet able to get to 8 counts, it's fine. As you lower your arms and as they settle to your side, then go ahead and bend your knees, please. Leave your arms on the floor by your side. Inhale, push up into bridge. It'll feel a little different, but we're going to go through the same sequence, increasing the length of inhale by 1 count each time. Breathe in, 5 count inhalation. Then 6, then 7, then 8. Be aware of the inhalation filling the back, as well as the sides, as well as the front body. Building to the 8 count inhale. Now stay up in the pose, please. And take 3 8 count breaths. If you want to bring your arms a little closer to each other, or even possibly interlace your fingers, you can. Filling the back, upper chest, but also the abdomen as well. Let's do 2 more rounds, up to an 8 count inhale. Your next exhale, slowly lower back down to the floor and pause. I'll ask you now, roll over to your side and please come up to 4s. Okay, a movement we use a lot. Chakravakasana. Inhale, lift the chin. Gently lift and expand the chest. As you breathe out, go back to your heels, chest to your thighs, just letting the head drop through the arms, chin toward the breastbone. Okay, so we're now going to do the same thing on exhalation. Remember, we're building toward box breathing. So exhale 5 counts. Remember, soften your neck. Chin slightly in, elbows bending. 6, then 7, then 8 count exhalations. Seven counts. And then 8. Inhale up to 4s. Exhale to downward dog. Inhale 5 counts to 4s. Exhale 5 counts to downward dog. Let's see if we can build it up. Inhale 6 counts to your knees. Exhale 6 counts to down dog. Contract the belly. Straighten the elbows. Repeat it. 6 count inhale. 6 count exhale, downward dog. Inhale down to 4s. And rest back, chest onto your thighs. Extend through your arms. We're going to come up to kneeling. Both arms overhead. As you exhale, come down. Chest onto the thighs. Again, let's extend the breath. 5 counts, inhale. All of this is to build to this master breathing practice, to gain command of the parasympathetic nervous system, or at least to activate it. Let's call it, let's describe it that way. Now, 6 count inhale. And you find yourself getting warm, even though the movements are simple. That should not be surprising. It is a stimulant. Exhaling 6 counts. Let's do 2 more. See if we can get to 7 and then 8. 7 count inhale. Take your time. It should be already challenging to your nervous system. And possibly now 8 count inhale. Able to do that? And 8 count exhale. And rest. It's not untypical that we overestimate the value of asana. We underestimate the value of pranayama. Just rest there for a moment, adjusting. Good. Just a couple more poses. Please sit up. We're going to come up to standing. We're going to work a little more with the lungs here, just to expand intercostals and side ribs here a bit. So about 3 or 4 inches wider than your shoulders. Extend the right arm up into the air. Inhale. And exhale. Slide the hand down the outside of the leg. Inhale all the way back up. Change sides. Now you're just going to lengthen the holds by increasing the amount of breaths we stay in the posture. So stay. 1 complete breath. Good. Next inhale, you come back up. Inhale, heart lifts, and exhale. Stay. And inhale. And just 3 breath hold now, each side. And inhale. And release, and opposite side, stay. Good, and inhale. Please come all the way back up. You adjust. Okay, feet hip distance apart now. One more of these postures in which we employ progressive lengthening of the breath. Inhale, lift the heart. Simple forward folding, so I'll just turn to the side so you see it. I flex my knees slightly. Inhale, lift my breastbone and draw my upper arms back. Inner thighs are slightly drawn back, and then I exhale, go forward, flat back. I'll ask you to increase it, starting on the next one with a 5 count exhalation. 5 counts. Six count inhale. Come back up to standing. Lift your collarbones. Find a little bit more space in the lungs. 6 count exhale. You'll again remember that the asana, the body, is really secondary in the refinement of the breath in this practice. That should be a 7 count inhalation. Lift your collarbones. 7 count exhalation. Eight count inhalation. Take your time. Takes 8 counts to complete the movement. Squeeze a little more breath in at the top. 8 count exhalation. Now let's just stay. Stay in the forward fold. If you can, as close to an 8 count inhale and an 8 count exhale as you can. Because of the position, you might find it easier to extend the exhale as opposed to the inhale. Just do the best you can without straining, without forcing the breath to become irregular or discontinuous, where you feel a kind of agitation or roughness in the flow. 3 more rounds. So last round, and then you'll take your time, please, and slowly come back up to standing. Okay, so if you want to do the pranayama, because we're going to be here for about 13 minutes or so, you could do it in a chair, you could do it. Ideally, the wall is not the best case scenario because it inhibits the movement into the back of the lungs. If you have to use one, you can. But my preference is that you would use a chair or that you would sit close to the wall without your back actually against it. All right, so please come into a seated position that's comfortable. Can this be done on the back? It could be, but again, it's going to be restrictive in terms of your breath capacity. And so it's less than ideal. Actually create more resistance, which yogis are full of practices that create resistance. But there's enough resistance in the deeper aspects of breathing that we don't need to add more to it. All right, so let's sit up. Take a moment. I'll ask you to close your eyes. And just for the next minute, I'm going to give you a full minute. Just watch your body breathing. Specifically, become aware, your attention anchored to the movement of your abdomen with your eyes closed. So you're seeing or feeling or just sensing it from the inside. Okay, if there's any disturbance being expressed in the breath, if you find it being rushed, if you find it uneven, just relax more deeply and notice the changes as you relax. Now take a moment to do what we did at the beginning of the practice, which was on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your body right now? 1 being the most calm, 10 being the most hyper alert, even anxious. Likely the breath has changed. Have sensations changed? And now you do the same for the mind. You bring your attention to the field of the mind on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you? Now sit quietly. Establish awareness, the sense of a quiet, curious, non-judgmental perceiver. That part of you which directs attention is now brought to itself. Now I'll ask you to begin to deepen your breath. And granted, not everyone will be able to do the maximum that maybe I or someone who's very experienced can do. It's not important. I'm just going to leave a certain amount of time. So initially, please develop your breath to be maximum length inhale and exhale. Let's use the maximum as 10. You might be able to do 10 counts in. 10 counts out, or it's 6, or it's 5, or it's 8. Just find what is your comfortable maximum. And this may change a little bit in the practice, especially as we start to introduce pauses, but see if you can maintain a singular standard through all of the stages. Please continue. About 1 more minute. Notice how the mind starts becoming already more focused, more alert, and at the same time, more relaxed. Now, I'll ask you to transition. So you'll breathe in for your maximum, pause the inhale, pause after inhale, and hold it for half the length. So if you inhaled 8, you now pause 4. Again, you'll exhale 8. No pause after exhale. Okay, so we're going to do this for about 2 minutes. There's no rush. In fact, as you continue to deepen your steadiness, you feel, you sense that less and less are you pulling for the inhale or pushing on the exhale. It's a gentle draw inward, breathing through your nostrils, sensitive to the breath in the nasopharynx. So this is the area between your sinuses and your throat. Please continue 1 more minute. And during the pause, bring your attention to the essence of the breath that you are holding. To do that first, the mind becomes quiet, and then you determine that you will sensitize yourself and anchor yourself to the essence of the breath. As you finish the next round, we're going to transition to the next stage, building slowly to complete box breathing. Now you'll pause after the exhale for the same length as you did pause after inhale. So for instance, inhale 8, pause 4, exhale 8, pause 4. And for those of you who want to push the maximum, please use the number 10. I'm going to go for about 2 more minutes. If you find there's a little bit of stimulation in this, maybe bordering on, you find yourself becoming hyperactivated or alert. Remember, the practice invites you, compels you to deepen your relaxation. The building up to, and inevitably, the practice of pure box breathing builds resilience in your nervous system. Therefore, it's going to be a little bit challenging. The guiding approach must be to deepen your relaxation. At the end of the next round, we'll transition so that the first 3 stages of the breath are equal length. And now it would be inhale 8, hold 8, breathe out 8, hold after exhale for 4. All right, we'll continue. About 2 more minutes, please. By now, you might be noticing the effect of your parasympathetic nervous system becoming activated, which begins to move you into a rhythm of calm, restfulness, mental and physical assimilation. Again, the approach is effortless focus, effortless alertness. If you're able to slow down your breath more, that's great. Consistency, staying with the practice, is what creates the healing. It can be extremely helpful if during the retentions you remember a word or you cultivate a feeling. By the way, the word can certainly be a Sanskrit mantra, but it can also be your name. Or cultivate love, kindness, courage. So we're going to transition now, after you finish that breath, to the last stage of the practice where all 4 stages are equal. So it could be 10, 10, 10, 10, or 8, 8, 8, 8, or 5, 5, 5, 5. So this last practice, last stage, we'll go for about 3 minutes. However, in most cases, even before you're done, before you finish this last stage of the practice, you will experience a deep, abiding sense of calm. Calm in the midst of alertness, awareness. So please continue. Whether you're pausing after inhale or exhale, there's nowhere to be other than right here, right now. Deeply established in effortless awareness. Please complete one more round. And then you can gradually take a few breaths just to balance and return to an effortless, involuntary flow in the breath. Now use this opportunity to again reflect on where you are now. Has the mind, have the body and mind adapted to the present? No longer entrenched in the rhythm and the momentum you had prior to doing the practice today. You've awakened the forces of resilience to further embody resilience and integration. Return to the effortless movement of the abdomen as the body breathes. And now, for at least one more minute, please continue to rest, observing the abdomen expand and contract on inhale and exhale. There's nowhere to be, nothing to do. Just be present.